Welcome to Hockey Nights in Vegas. My name is Eddie Rivkin. I am joined, as always, by Canadian supermodel and the second most important export from Canada, right behind that Deadpool guy, Ryan something or other.
Reynolds.
Yeah, hey. He's a little more popular.
It's fine.
For now.
That's okay.
Just for now.
Yeah.
Right? Sarina Taylor, ladies and gentlemen. This episode, like all the others, is brought to you by my very good friend, Dr. John Pierce at Ageless Forever. www.agelessforever.net. 702-838-1994 is the number. Your first consultation is on us. Just tell the girls that you found Ageless through the Hockey Nights in Vegas podcast. Dr. Pierce will hook you up.
I have an Ageless t-shirt. I forgot to wear it.
You do? They don't make one in my size. So I have all sorts of notes to talk about. You want to wrap up the trade deadline?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It was surprisingly quiet for the Vegas Golden Knights, but sort of important in its own way. And we got to see that just for 2 games, but bringing on Cole Smith from Nashville, I think, and Nick Dowd from the Washington Capitals. The fourth line now has a fixed identity. 100%, right? They're gonna put Sissons in there. He's going to be the third. They all have unbelievable metrics as far as starting in the D zone and playing against tough minutes. We saw it in the very first game. They got a ton of starts against Kaprizov's line, right? And against Edmonton, they got a ton of starts against McDavid or Draisaitl. It certainly wasn't the bombshell that we were looking for, thinking that Kelly might have that one, in his pocket. But I kind of like the moves. They lost Cole Reinhardt to waivers. They gave away some draft picks and stuff like that. But the big rumor that everyone was screaming about was they're going to get another goalie. Because the goalie room's not crowded enough with 3 of them already. I'm okay with them semi-standing pat. What do you think?
I don't really think that Kelly had any room to wiggle. If anybody can figure something out, it's him. He's one of those guys that can do it. But at the end of the day, he really didn't have a lot of room. My dad and I were talking about this. I'm like, it's a different conversation if you've got, if Mark Stone goes on LTIR and Carlson's on LTIR and Carter Hart's on LTIR, you're looking at like $16-ish million. It's not that way
anymore.
Right.
With no more double retention.
Yeah.
Salary cap in the playoffs. All of those bullets in the chamber are now gone away.
Yeah. So I understand, he did what he could and there's only so much. And it's like the goaltending situation, maybe the 2 good goaltenders that would have done any damage for the Golden Knights, Binnington or Bobrovsky or anybody like that, they weren't going anywhere. So it's just it was tough. But sometimes if the Golden Knights are all healthy, they have a really strong team. So
for the record, if my sister had a dick and balls, she'd be my brother.
No, but let's say everybody comes back, which they might. So right. It's like there's not really a lot to improve on from a best case scenario. So you have to look at that too, right? Because of the salary cap and everything.
The thing that confused me the most is I don't understand Kelly speak as well as you do, but he was asked in his press conference before the Minnesota game. He wasn't even asked. He gave out the status of all the players. And he said that in order for William Karlsson to come back, they would have to have some success in the playoffs. So I leaned over to our friend Jesse Granger of the Athletic. I said, my translator said that means Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I was going to say.
What do you think? He says, not sure, but that sounds about right. And we'll get to if we think they're even good enough to make it later on down the episode. But they could have just shipped him for the year, said, see you in September at camp, and picked off that $5.8 million and given Kelly a significant chance. I don't quite understand that one, but it could be nobody in the market interested in him. Listen, in my opinion, the trade deadline is now dead. It's basically going to be like going to Walmart because and getting discount things. Because if you are a world-class player and the cap is in theory, according to Alan Walsh, super agent and asshole who did that thing with Fleury before you got here, the cap's going to go as high as $130 million in the next 3 years. So if you are a top-tier player, you're going to sign for all the money. You're going to get all that fucking cheese right the fuck now, right? The days of the bona fide superstars going to free agency, that shit's over with. It's fucking Dunsky. So, there was definitely some winners and losers in the trade deadline. Fucking Colorado, they were a wagon before. They never really replaced Kadri. They got Kadri for a first and a fifth and a little bit of salary retention, right? But, Buffalo, the Central, Dallas, Minnesota, and Colorado, they're loaded for bear. Thankfully, this shitty playoff system means that at least one of them is going to go out in the first round. Oh, well. And possibly two of them if there's an upset. Any big winners from the trade deadline stand out to you?
Well, just going back to the Carlson thing, Kelly probably looked at it like, regardless if anybody wanted to take Carlson, you would probably have to be a non-playoff contending team this year.
No, I'm not talking about taking him. I'm just talking about putting him on season-ending LTIR.
Oh, okay. But regardless, then Kelly, let's say he's got the $6 million-ish or whatever. He probably weighed it out and said, there's not anybody worth
that's what I'm thinking.
That's out there. But as far as like winners and whatever, I was a little shocked to see Winnipeg look like sellers. They got rid of Shen and
Stanley.
Yeah.
Logan Stanley, both to Buffalo, right? They basically sent the defensive pair.
Fuck. Even my dad was like, what the fuck was going on in Winnipeg that I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Buffalo. But it's funny because I was telling somebody, we had that list of 50 players.
Well, Buffalo was the big loser as well.
How so?
Colton Parayko.
Well, what do you mean?
Buffalo, they had a deal for Colton Parayko to go to Buffalo.
Yeah.
And he flexed his no trade.
Yeah.
And made Doug Armstrong look like a moron.
Yeah, but they weren't that's not a loss for them. They didn't give up.
They
just didn't.
They didn't get a bona fide 1D. They got two other guys who are 4, 5, 6Ds.
Yeah.
But they lost out on him.
I guess, but that.
So you think it's not a loss because they never had him to
correct.
lose him.
That should have never gotten out in the first place. We talked about that.
And that's kind of where we're going to. This is bad.
Listen, there was a kid so just so you guys know what we're talking about. And would you want to go right into that?
Yeah.
All of the St. Louis Blues staff, for the most part, was asked to sacrifice their cell phones to see who leaked that Colton Parayko trade rumor.
Right.
And they couldn't find anybody. Nobody. They couldn't find anything. And somebody obviously had to have leaked it.
1,000%.
Right? It's just the way it goes. Like how even, who was it, said the other day, he's like, how the fuck Elliot Friedman finds shit out? It was one of the players. That got traded. He's like, I don't know how Elliot Friedman does this, but he finds he's like, I was at the gym or whatever. But that kind of stuff just gets spread so crazy. It's
such a bad look.
Yeah.
It's such a bad look. Doug Armstrong, depending on the story, didn't go to him until after the deal had basically been consummated and said, would you waive for Buffalo? As opposed to going to the player and say, hey, we're talking to Buffalo. Is that a place that you would consider going? Right? Because he could have shut that whole thing down and said, fuck no. My girlfriend, fiance, is the king of pizza in St. Louis. My house is here. My family's here. I ain't waiving for Buffalo. Problem solved.
No, completely disagree. If I was a general manager, I would never go to a player first without a deal in place. That just shows you that you are not wanted as a player.
He already knew that.
But still, it's like, I've never heard of a general manager in the history of sports go to the player and go, hey, we're thinking about doing that. You gotta have a deal in place first.
Dougie Hamilton.
Okay. Well, okay. Fucking.
Well, no, I feverishly disagree with you. I think that the GMs have to talk to the player and let them know that there's conversations about him.
Why?
The statistic is 37.2% of the players in the NHL have some version of no trade, trade protection, or a limited lease list.
Right. Doug wanted to get a potential deal in place first before he talked to Parayko. Why wouldn't you do that? Like, I would never not have a game plan and just randomly go to all the players and go, hey, so I'm thinking about going. It's not the fucking player's decision.
It is the player's decision if he has a no movement clause.
No, it's not the player's decision where he goes.
It absolutely is the player's decision. He told them no.
After, right. But why would you just be like, because then the player's going to go, actually, I'd really like to go to whatever. That's why these guys are soft. That's why they make way too much money. That's why all of this is a fucking shitstorm.
You think, hold on, I got to click the swear thing.
Yeah, I think you missed a couple.
No, I'm clicking.
Oh.
My thumb's got a stutter. This is different than the NBA. The NBA, the players it's the inmates running the asylum. I want to be traded here, work out a deal. But
yes,
right?
of course.
But Doug Armstrong could have wasted 10 hours of his life negotiating with, can't remember the Finns guy name. It's not Hobby Bulin.
No,
the new general manager of Buffalo.
Said it again the other day.
So they could have been going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And we got a deal. Hey, Colton, you want to go to Buffalo? Fuck you. Right? I think that they have to have an idea, especially when it's a full no trade. It's different when they might want to trade somebody who's on a limited list, 10 team, 15, whatever, or specific teams you can't trade them to. For example, Trocheck said, I'm not going west no matter what.
Fucking true. Like, hey, when Trocheck is like the ugly girl at the dance, you don't get to fucking pick. If you want to get railed later, you better just go with what will take you. Like, the odds are good, but the goods are odd. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. But I'm the type of person that.
So you would spend your time talking to another GM.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's how I run my life. I'm not all over the place with like, well, if this wants to happen.
What a fascinating question that would be to ask Kelly.
Kelly, that's 100% what crossed my mind.
Wouldn't that be an absolute fucking home run if we could get him to sit down with us?
Let me ask you this. Do you think Kelly gives a fuck about? No, Kelly, like Doug, has a team to build, and Doug's job is to build that team, right? So his mentality, it's not like he has to go to a player with a no trade clause and say whatever. But for me, I'd rather have the deal in place first before I went to the player, because it's like, okay, well, I might trade you to Buffalo, but hold on, give me a second. Let me try to figure this out. That's just not the way I operate in life in general.
I think there's a lot of room in between there. He could have gone to Parayko and said, we're 95% of the way to a deal with Buffalo.
Maybe he did.
Apparently he did nothing.
Well,
I mean, apparently Parayko found out, I think it might have been Elliot Friedman. Imagine that. That's how he found out. But I just don't see if a player has a full no movement, right? First of all, you have to ask him if he's even interested in waiving it. That's the first step.
Correct.
Agreed?
Well, yeah, it's against the CBA.
Right. So we'll assume that happened. We'll assume that he said, listen, we're getting a lot of calls on you. Are there teams that you would consider waiving for? And he would probably say yes, right? Would you go to Buffalo? Fuck you, Doug Armstrong.
Well, here's probably what happened.
Okay.
Doug probably was talking to Buffalo to see if it was an option, coming out with a deal. Nothing was obviously finalized yet because he has to legally talk to Parayko first.
But
right?
But the deal was done. All the pieces on the chessboard were agreed to by both GMs.
Okay, but it's not legally binding.
No, until they make the trade call.
So he has to go to Parayko and ask him first. He probably clearly never got the chance. Someone leaked it, and that's why he's pissed. Because somebody leaked it before he had the chance to the chance to do the right thing by himself, his team, and the player, right?
It's just such a terrible look, though, for a well-respected general manager.
I don't feel Doug is at fault for anything right now. He's not the one that leaked it. He didn't finalize a deal and go, okay, he's going, without asking him about his no trade clause. Doug did nothing wrong. He didn't. It's because somebody leaked it. Listen, I guarantee there are so many almost trades that probably happened this year, just like every other year that didn't, because nobody leaked it. We don't know, because nobody's a piece of shit.
The rumor was that there was a blockbuster deal that got kiboshed by the league because it came in at 3 p.m. and 30 seconds. And it's like the great mystery. They're all wondering, who missed out or who picked, what it was. But it's like a Dateline mystery. What was that big trade?
That was somebody just trying to. It was probably someone just trying to ooh, I got the scoop. There was this.
Right.
Can't say what it is. Bullshit. Well, it probably happens all the time.
Well, Elliot Friedman's getting a lot of run this episode, but I do want to share with you a quote from his latest podcast episode that I think will bring a smile to your face.
Okay.
Elliot Friedman said, and I quote, "Gary Bettman and Bill Daly, the enemies of fun in the NHL."
I mean,
not wrong.
Well, I don't know one person who doesn't agree with that.
The double retention hurt the trade deadline. LTIR salary cap hurt the deadline. I'm sticking to trade deadlines as much as I loved watching them, and I know that's not your jam. They're garbage. They're just it's all going to be third and fourth line and second and third pair D.
But also, this is just another example of we had to make an amendment to a rule that never should have been there in the fucking first place.
Click.
So it's like, everybody gets all upset with Kelly a few years ago because the LTIR thing. So it's like, if you're going to have a salary cap, either stick to the rule and say it's this or it's this. Because even far be it from me to stick up for Matthew Tkachuk, but last year I was like, hey, he's so injured, it's not fair to the Panthers if they don't know he's coming back in time for the playoffs. What that did was that opened up the opportunity for them to get Marchand. Boom, look what happened, right? And now the rules are different because either have a rule about it or don't. But why do you have a salary cap if you're going to be all over the fucking place anyway?
I have a new favorite Golden Knight.
Okay, can I guess? You have a new favorite Golden Knight.
I have a new favorite Golden Knight.
Is there a particular reason?
Yes.
Well, can you give it to me without spoiling it or no?
No.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, you've been around me long enough. You know that I don't need to hear my own voice when it comes to talking to players. If I have something to ask, I ask it. But otherwise, I kind of listen more.
Is it Jeremy Lauzon?
It's Jeremy Lauzon. And it was kind of gross because I was talking to our dear friend Lexi a couple of days ago, and she's like, what did you want to ask J-Lo? And I'm like, huh? What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. And then like, oh my God. I hope that that's not his nickname in the room.
I'm sure it is.
That's gross. I'm sorry.
I don't think Lexi's going to just randomly call him that.
Well, I don't know, but so J-Lo. So here's the story. Practice was supposed to be a full practice. I don't follow the thing on Twitter. It became an optional. 5 skaters. Oh, fuck, I'm already at the rink. I'll wait around. Maybe Bruce will give us a couple of nuggets. They said we could talk to Howden for the first time. He was coming off of LTIR. Apparently he's hurt again.
Jeez.
Took that really bad hit. It looks like he might be hurt again. So we're walking to the press room, and Darren Millard is talking to Jeremy Lauzon. And I had some questions about Jeremy Lauzon after the Minnesota game. So I said to our good friend G Money, I said, can I get like 3 minutes with Jeremy Lauzon? And he's like, what are you up to? Like, I just want to talk to him about last night's game. I said, Jeremy, I said, gee, I don't fucking ambush players. So he was very gracious and said yes. So I said to Jeremy Lozon, I said, I was watching the game last night from the press box, and it looked like maybe you invited Ryan Hartman to the dance. He goes, yeah, I did, but he's a fucking phony, and he skated away. He's just a pest and blah, 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 and didn't have a lot of good things to say about him. But then I followed up with the important question. I said, Jeremy, how hard was it for you not to kill Matt Boldy? Because, he boarded Bobby Orr Brink, got a penalty, and Matt Boldy, of all people, arguably one of the nicest guys in the NHL, decided to puff out his chest and take a run at Jeremy Lozon. And I go, just tell me you were trying to make sure he got the instigator and you didn't want to murder him right then and there. He goes, yeah, I was looking for that penalty. And he said, but if he would have shrugged him, and I'm like, and he said, he would have shrugged him.
Fuck yeah.
Right? I'd have got him. Right? So they just kind of danced around and wrestled, and he did get the instigator penalty. And then Jeremy said, later he came up to me and said, thank you for not killing him.
Well, that's not even a fucking fair fight.
No. And the quote from Boldy is, I'll always stand up for my teammates. And I understand that. But Jeremy Lozon was so funny talking about he would have murdered him, right, as he stood there. I mean, Boldy took a really good run at him. But when Lozon closed with, later on in the game, he came up and said, thank you. I'm like, he's my new favorite Golden Knight.
Well, doesn't surprise me about either one of those guys, because Lozon knows his role as well. He's not going to beat up Matt Boldy. Like, how does that's what does that solve, right?
Unless Matt Boldy drops the gloves.
Sure, but I mean, he knows.
Right.
Lozon knows just as much as Boldy does where the fucking chips lie here. So, yeah, I love that. But Boldy, of all guys, like, I wasn't at the game, for the record. I had a dinner I had to be at, so I wasn't there, and I didn't see any of that. But it's hilarious when that stuff happens.
He did board Bobby Orr Brink, and that's really his middle name, not to be confused with Ben Bobby Orr Hutton, completely different. But they just picked up 2 or 3 big guys, and our friend Paul went to the Minnesota room after the game. God damn it, I can't remember who. Anyway, a large guy with a fighting resume that Minnesota picked up at the trade deadline said, I don't know why he did that. That's kind of why they brought people like me here.
That's amazing.
Right? Isn't
they pick up? Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember where anybody went, really, but
he after talking to him for 2 minutes, he has vaulted way up the list of Golden Knights that I want to interview for 10 or 15 minutes. Right?
On that note, it actually made me think of a good question for you. I'll do rapid fire at the end. I'll do it in rapid fire at the end.
So
okay.
I have a man crush to talk to Jeremy Lozon, because I bet if we go like off the board and ask him funny stuff, I think we'll get it.
He'll be just whack. Those Frenchies are out there, man.
I think for sure we're going to get some podcast gold if we get a chance to talk to him. I absolutely do. So that's going to wrap up the first half of the podcast. We're moving right along. Let's get a word in from Dr. John Pierce at Ageless Forever, and then we'll come back and talk about this giant pile of shit on the table between Sarina and I. So we'll be right back. I'm back with my good friend, Dr. John Pierce, and I want to talk about healing. I had rotator cuff surgery in May. I started a regimen of peptides, things that help enhance and speed up the healing process for recovery. If you don't know what peptides are, you're about to get a short, quick understanding of them and how important it could be for you if you got an upcoming surgery. Let her rip.
So, we use peptides here that are approved coming from U.S. Licensed pharmacies. You gotta be careful because there's a lot of stuff out on the gray market. That's the stuff you can order on the internet, and you don't know exactly what you're getting. However, what do peptides do? Well, peptides do a lot of different things depending on what we're looking to do. Now we're going to talk about a couple peptides that decrease inflammation and upregulate healing. And that is unlike taking an anti-inflammatory medication or a corticosteroid, which decrease inflammation and down-regulate healing. So that tissue that you just got repaired, or if you just injured, you want it to heal and you don't want to make it more prone to further injury. This is where the peptides come in, because they decrease the amount of inflammatory, they're called cytokines, produced by the cells, and they upregulate growth hormone receptors in the connective tissue, thus allowing better healing. So we get the best of both worlds. If you've got an injury and you want to get back quicker, peptides can help. If you're suffering from chronic issues like osteoarthritis, peptides actually can help that as well. If you have orthopedic surgery or any type of surgery that's planned and you can prepare before and after surgery, your healing time will be better.
This is really important, folks. We're all getting older. We're not healing the way we used to heal. I know for a fact that the regimen of peptides that I take improved my healing and also shortened the time that it's taken me to get better. Pick up the phone, call Ageless Forever, tell the girls that you found the practice through the Hockey Nights in Vegas podcast. Your first consultation with Dr. Pierce is free. Don't you want to get better faster? It's pretty much it. All right. And we're back. Bjorn's chirping from the sidelines. I don't know if he's on mic because I'm not hearing him that well in my ears.
He's just fucking yapping.
So we've got a development.
Okay.
Our ticket giveaway winner, Arenda Jatoro, and I can't even tell you the story about what that name is. It's a combination of Spanish and this and that and the other thing. Bottom line is that person is unavailable through the regular season. And last week when we did this charade, I asked you if we should do the Miss America thing and pick a second winner, and you said, no, we'll just deal with it if we have to deal with it. So guess what? We have to deal with it because we still have tickets.
Okay, drum roll. Which, by the way, it was very nice of them to reach out and say, hey.
Yes, that was it was very, very nice of them. And he said he will be in town for like the beginning of playoffs. I said, we would love to have you for lunch.
No, he said he was going to take us to lunch. So we're going to hold his fucking ass to that.
Oh, for a free meal?
Fucking right.
All right.
He wanted to do it at the rink. We won't go to our special spot over at BJ's for the $13 lunch special.
Right.
Okay.
Enough.
Ready?
Yep.
Got a winner?
I do.
Hot dog, we have a wiener.
Well, at least we have, in theory, we have a winner.
Are you trying to separate the post-it
Yeah,
note?
because it's a fucking post-it note.
Oh, my God.
Damn.
Eddie.
Tammy Barton -W5E. Tammy, God, I hope you're in fucking Vegas because I don't want to do this bit again next week. I really just want to put these in my fireplace. Tammy Barton, that's your screen handle, Tammy Barton -W5E. You have won 2 tickets to an upcoming Golden Knights
we are
home
literally
game.
throwing these out.
We're done with this?
Fuck it.
Okay.
If Tammy doesn't win,
We're going ourselves.
yeah, we're taking Bjorn.
We're taking Bjorn. We got the tickets anyway. We can
we ourselves. Here's Eddie and I in the stands. The fuck?
Tammy Barton, W5E. Congratulations. You won 2 tickets to an upcoming Vegas Golden Knights home game. Pre-game meal at the El Dorado Cantina, and depending on your moral code, maybe or maybe not a lap dance. Pretty good fucking prize package.
Yeah. Tammy sounds like a good stripper name, too.
God, I hope. Could you imagine if she's like a 65-year-old grandmother of 11?
If she's watching this podcast, she's used to the
Interactive language.
Yes. Yeah, the colorful environment.
The vibrant elocution. All right, now that that's off the fucking table, now we have to talk about the ugly.
Oh, boy. Well, there's a lot of that, so I hope we have a lot of time.
That's why I moved the first segment along really fast. 18 games to go. Listen to this disaster. 29 up, 21 in regulation, 14 OTLs, 72 points, a stunning .563 winning percentage. They are no longer in first place in the Pacific Division. Their whopping, what's the stat, goal differential? They are +4. For the record, Colorado is plus 85. Anaheim, who is leading the division, is minus 10 in goal differential. Is that not the definition of giant pile of steaming shit?
Well,
they're 4-6 in their last 10 games, 6th in the West, 16th in the NHL. So if they went old school, 1-16, they're dance partners, the Colorado Avalanche, and we've got our summer off. I don't think either of us would go far enough to say the Golden Knights would do well against Colorado in the first round of a 7-game.
Last week we talked about how many possible points are they going to get in the next 5 games, and I said 4 or 5. The most they can get now is 4. And remember last week I was like, we have this conversation every time. They have to get 500. They have to break this. And I'm like, we are literally having this conversation every time, and that's not good.
No, I'd like to be talking about more fun stuff.
I said last week, my dad said it again, they just can't get it together. That game against Edmonton, that first period, was probably the most boring period of hockey I have seen in, well, remember when Florida and Carolina played in the playoffs last year and everybody wanted to slit their wrists? That's what it reminded me of.
20 minutes of nothing.
It was so bad. And then all of a sudden McDavid pulled a McDavid, got everybody really excited, and then there was a little bit going on, and then the second period and, whatever. But it was just from both sides, both views, both team views or whatever, that was an embarrassment. Edmonton won by 2 goals. They had no business winning that game, but neither did Vegas.
No, that should have been a tie.
But there's no such thing. And both of them would have got a loser point because they're so bad. It was just terrible.
So, I say again, 18 games to go. Are you ready to sound the alarm?
Yeah, well, yeah,
they have no margin, right? All the goodwill, that's out the window now. They have 70, what did I say? 72, 36 possible. So theoretically, the best they can get is 98. They ain't getting 98.
That's every win, right?
Right, that's 8. That's going on an 18-0 run.
Listen,
is 91 points going to win
I don't know.
the Pacific?
I have no idea. Because who knows the way everything is right now, right?
But they're all so bad.
Yeah, but
I think. Okay, let me rephrase the question. How concerned are you that the Golden Knights don't make the playoffs?
Not really. Honestly, not really.
I think also not really, but not because of the Golden Knights. I think all the shitbirds will play 500 hockey. No one's going to go on a run. Speaking specifically about the Pacific Division, obviously not the Central. I don't think anybody's going to, I don't expect Seattle to go on a tear like that, or Anaheim, certainly not the LA Kings. They stink, right? So I think that the Golden Knights are going to make the playoffs. I don't know how confident I am saying they can even win the division, because they've got a little rough sledding coming up, and it's a game every other day, which means basically no practice, only video sessions. I think they get in the playoffs, but I don't know if they finish 2nd, 3rd, or 8th.
Oh, it's impossible to tell. Yeah. I was having this conversation, I forget who it was with the other day, but 2 years ago, I think, Florida was in the same situation.
Yeah, and they snuck in as an 8 seed.
They were dog shit. They were whatever. And Paul Maurice goes, everybody relax. Just fucking calm your tits, right? And sure enough, they got into one.
Is that a swear word?
Calm your tits?
Tits?
No, I said fucking relax. So you can.
Yeah, okay.
I love that you missed the F word, but is tits a swear
No,
word?
I got the F word. I was just
Okay.
seeing if it was going to double
I don't
click.
think tits is it's slang, but it's like you never know what's going to happen. I think that if you look at, because the conversation we were having was the East versus the West. The West is always stronger. It's always got more teams that can contend, blah, 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 blah. Right now, I feel like the West has teams that can contend that are not playing their best hockey. Vegas, Edmonton, those are 2 teams that come off
Those are the 2
dome,
for sure.
Right. So that's why I always say you just never know what's going to happen. And I'm not super concerned about them making the playoffs, but as it sits right now, will they win in the first round? I don't know. Depends who they play. Like you said, they could be 2-3-8. Who knows? Depends who they play. It depends how well they play. Vegas can beat anybody, but they can lose to anybody.
And that's the most uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
There is a chance that they can win the Pacific and not be favored against wild card 1.
Yes. Right.
Right?
Right.
In theory, right now, wild card 1 looks like Utah. At this moment in time, it looks like Utah. I don't know if they're favored against Utah in a 7-game series. Utah's never been there. So there is the experience factor that will assist the Vegas Golden Knights, most certainly. But this team, most recently, I shouldn't say, for the last good while, hasn't presented any case that they're capable of, A, coming out of the funk that they're in, or B, being even considered a serious Stanley Cup contender. Am I wrong? Or
No, unfortunately, they're not. You ask me every episode, what do you think the problem is? And I don't fucking know. I think I really decided to dig deep statistically and about whatever. And you know how I bag on this poor fucking guy. Click. Your highest paid player who's supposed to be producing for you is currently 14th overall in the league in scoring. That's a problem. Jack Eichel was sitting 15th in scoring. He is now 14th in scoring overall. That's not good. You're not going to win shit if the person who's supposed to be producing the most for you is 14th overall in scoring. That's a big problem. And I'm not just blaming him, but if you look down the line, you know, like I pulled this up and I'm looking at this going, okay, McDavid obviously in the top. Draisaitl is 4th. Edmonton's got 2 guys in the top 4. That doesn't mean they're a better team, whatever, but it helps. Defenseman. Evan Bouchard's got more points than Jack Eichel. That's a problem. Natchez, that's a little different. Nick Suzuki has more points than Jack Eichel. That's a problem. Tage Thompson has 1 less point than Jack Eichel. In my opinion, Jack Eichel's twice the player Tage Thompson is. And again, this is a team sport, but I'm just saying, like, I'm looking down the list here. Eichel is 14th. Mitch is 23rd overall in scoring. Those 2 motherfuckers should be in the top. Both of them should be in the top 12 to 15 minimum. We talked at the start of this year, our very first podcast. You're like, the Golden Knights are going to have the top power play in the league. They're going to be contending for a Stanley Cup. They're going to be top 5. They're going to have Aiden Hill's going to be in a top 5 goaltending, which not his fault, whatever. But that theoretically should have been happening. And it's not.
Or at least something closer than what it is.
Right. And I go down, Mark Stone, who is not inherently a goal scorer, is 32nd overall in the league.
Right, but he's also missed 20.
Oh, no. But I'm like giving him credit because Mark Stone is a fucking nail gun for this team.
Right. And he's averaging 1.4 points a game for the games that he plays. He's just not playing enough games.
The guy is just...
He's a nail gun.
Stellar. But my point is, even without Mark Stone, you have 2 really good hockey players in Mitch and Eichel. The reason Leon and McDavid are 1 and 4 is because, they don't play together all the time, but if they do on the power play, they score. They play on separate lines, for fuck's sake. A lot of times, Jack and Mitch were playing on the same line for a little bit. Not always, obviously, but it's just, I think that's where the disconnect is coming in because they're not capitalizing on the power play. I just thought of that person's comment on Facebook. Why do they change so much? But the reason I thought about that is because the other night I started to see Bruce, okay, it's been 45 seconds or a minute, get off the power play, next line's going out. In the past,
120, 130.
Bruce was running those guys for 2 minutes.
Right. Full route.
Right. And so you can see it now. Okay, we can make a change. Let's go. Make the change. I mean, the power play they had against Edmonton was embarrassing on both sides of the puck in the first period or whatever it was. But I think that's where the problem is. The guys that are supposed to be producing are not producing. Mitch isn't a goal scorer. He's a playmaker. But Eichel is supposed to be a goal scorer. And I think that's part of the problem. Again, not blaming Jack. This is a whole team thing, but that's where it starts.
Well, there was also another comment. I didn't tag you on it because I thought maybe you'd be resting and I didn't want to get your blood pressure up.
By the way, if you make a stupid comment on Facebook like a lot of people do, Eddie's going to tag me in it just so we can laugh.
Yeah, I can admit that.
I can't. And then you get the people that know the game that are just firing away.
So this young fella, and I can't remember his name because it wasn't worth remembering. His profile picture was in a Jets jersey, not Winnipeg, New York Jets. So he's obviously a built-in loser.
Poor guy.
Commented about why don't Jack and Mitch play on a line together, and blah, 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 blah. And he said, Mitch had so much more success with Matthews. And I couldn't help myself. One puck.
Yeah.
Both of them, their primary responsibility, driving the offense. Bring the puck up the ice. Become the creators. Neither one of them prefer to score goals. And then he said, well, what about Austin Matthews? I'm like, listen, jerk off. Austin Matthews doesn't drive plays. He's a finisher. Mm-hmm. Stands around in a good spot, gets a pass, scores a goal. He's not a driver of the play. And I just finished with apples versus oranges because it's true. We said, and I bet if Bjorn went back to the very early episodes when we asked, do you think Mitch is going to play with Jack? And I said I thought it was a bad fit. So still only one puck on the ice at a time. Both guys want that second pass, right? First pass up the wall to a forward. They want that second pass. They want to drive the offensive zone and get to work. But they ain't. They ain't. And that's why, we for those of you who don't know, we sit next to each other and talk our own language during the game. The fourth line was their best line for a good part of the Edmonton game. The fourth line that was constituted 3 days ago with two guys who don't even know that they're staying in the Red Rock Hotel. Ooh, I shouldn't say that. You probably can figure it out. Anyway, two guys that arrive within 3 days and Colton Sissons make up the fourth line, and they're making the Edmonton Oilers defend in their zone. That's a fucking wet dream for Bruce, because now if he can get that sort of production out of the fourth line, he can match up other people, right? He makes it harder to match up against the Golden Knights because your fourth line, they may not be producing points. They may not be statistical darlings, but if you can hold Edmonton in their defensive zone for 30 or 40 or 50 seconds, that's a huge thing. I said to you, I think they're the best line tonight. And I maintain that they were. And I maintain that that's really bad.
Keegan was also very good.
Yeah, fast. Looked fast.
Keegan, that guy, man, he played so well the other night. And talking about the Jack and Mitch thing and whatever, what Edmonton will do, they play McDavid on the first line, Draisaitl on the second line. What Edmonton will do, if let's say there's a minute left in the period and the play is in the offensive zone, he'll put
for a shift.
Leon, right.
Or if they're down, they put them together.
Because those two are fucking dynamite. But that's also because this has a lot to do with it.
They both finish.
They
both finish.
Okay.
Neither Jack or Mitch are what you would consider a classic NHL finisher.
But McDavid is such a good playmaker, and him and Draisaitl have been playing together for like 10 years now. That makes a big difference. You can mold a guy like Leon, who's an absolute freight train out there. You're not going to knock Leon off the puck. You just better hope he doesn't have a good scoring angle. If Leon's sitting on the side of that net, that goalie is already
cheating.
Over. He knows where that puck is going.
Yep.
And it's the weapon the Golden Knights don't have, partly because they don't have a lot of guys that have played together for that long.
And they don't have, and they, aside from Dorofeev, they don't really have a bona fide finisher.
Right. Personally, though, I feel like they're capable. I feel like
For sure.
Marner and Eichel, honestly,
There's more.
Eichel's smart. You put him on the side of that net like you put Leon, you're not too many guys are going to knock Eichel off the puck either,
No.
right?
Super strong on the puck.
But give him figure out what you want to do with Jack, because let's be honest, he crosses the blue line, he turns the puck over. He comes across the blue line, he turns the puck over. People were talking the other night about, oh, Jack passed it away to somebody else. I'm like, that's when he doesn't just turn it over. Like, I think that I don't know if he looks a little out of place or something, but it's like, I would put Marner as the McDavid in this situation and put Jack on the side of the net and because Mitch is like nobody else with the puck other than McDavid, right? Mitch is so smart. Let him fucking go. Let him figure it out. Put Theodore out there. He's smart with the puck. Did you see his latest stat?
No.
There's a stat. He's got one recorded hit this entire season.
That might be. I would have set the over under at 1.
I'm not laughing at Theodore. He was hurt. He was.
Yeah. No, I get it.
But I think that it's there, but it's not going to happen the first season they're together.
So you've sounded the alarm, but you're still. So you're not going. Just to wrap this up, as we have other things to talk about, and we have a game of rapid fire to play. You still think they're going to make the playoffs, but we have no idea the how, where, when, why, or any of the other stuff.
The reason I'm not like 5 alarm is because there's literally nothing else anybody can do. The trade deadline's passed.
Yeah.
Kelly's done. Kelly's job is done.
Right. It is what it is now.
Yeah. They're all grown-ass adults.
No click for ass.
Right. No. Bruce is like, okay, I'm going to do the best with what I've got. Let's figure this out. You know, every day's been like, what the fuck are we going to do with this line? Click.
Click.
But yeah. Okay. So I'm not 5 alarming.
3?
Yeah. That's safe.
Dallas, shortly, soon. Pittsburgh, still in the mix, playing pretty well, even without Sid. And Gino with that dumbass slash that got him 5 games for fucking tomahawking that guy. Chicago, they better beat fucking Chicago. Then the Buffalo Sabres come to town. The 8-7 over Tampa Bay with 110 minutes of fight. The Buffalo Sabres, the best NHL game in 5 seasons, I'm going to say.
Minimum.
Right? An absolute shit show. 4-1, 4-4, 6-4, 6-6, 7-6, 7-7.
It's an old fucking Oilers Flyers
Right, just fucking go for it, right? Players getting suspended for slugging guys, sucker punching guys. They're leading the Atlantic Division. And they fired their GM. And they've gone on Pekalainen. Is that right?
Yes.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay. They bring him in.
Yeah, is that it? Yeah. But
they brought him in with the players that Kevin Adams assembled. And they're on a magical run. I don't know if it's going to last. I don't know if this is smoke and mirrors. But right now, they're fucking cooking with gas. They hung an 8-pack on Tampa. No, it was not against Vasilevsky. Right? But, fuck.
It was probably Happy Bulin.
Wait a minute.
How did you miss that?
I don't know. Because
the look on your face, like, what is she going to say?
I'm getting tired. We say it every episode. They got to pull their heads out of their ass and go to work. The only game that is they better win is Chicago. Because Utah is realistically a first-round opponent for them. Dallas, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Buffalo, Utah.
Okay. We already talked about Dallas last week in the last 5. So let's go Chicago.
Pittsburgh, Chicago, Buffalo, Utah.
Pittsburgh, Chicago, Buffalo, Utah. Those are the ones that you lose to the shitty teams and you beat the good teams.
I would take 3-1 if they lost to Chicago.
They're not going to be 3-1. Out of 8 points, I'm going to say 3 or 4.
You're very good at being conservative.
Well,
but you're not wrong.
I haven't been wrong yet on all the ones. Like,
I've only been wrong once in the history of the podcast,
No.
according to my notes.
and I hate that that's the case. But Chicago just dealt Nick Foligno.
Which was a nice move to get him to play with his brother.
Yeah, I mean,
For what
Yeah,
that
like
is. His dad was crying at
gonna
the
do shit, and Chicago's not, bless their hearts, but
right.
you know,
They gave him a chance to win something.
yeah. Now Bedard's the captain there.
They give him the C
Chicago's-
or the A?
I heard they gave him the C. I thought they gave him a C.
Oh, I don't know.
Whatever.
He's going to get to C at some point.
But
So
it's like, I don't think he's worthy of a C, but but anyway, let's just, try to get this going. Utah, who knows, right? Buffalo, who knows? That could be the game that Vegas goes, okay, we have to win this shit because these guys are on fire and we've got to win. And
at some
they're all,
point we have to make a statement.
is the Utah game a home game?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're all home games.
Except for today.
Right, but starting from Pittsburgh,
Yes. 4 in a row. at
four
home.
homestand at home. That
Five.
it's a
They
loss
got-
where you don't get 5 or 6 points.
Has to. Yeah,
right?
it has to be.
At home.
All right, let's play rapid fire. What do you got?
Okay. We are going to go through your most memorable. So just get in your head. I'm going to just list different things if you have any.
Okay.
Okay. Most memorable game. This is all you've witnessed. Most memorable game.
Watched or in person?
Whatever. Seen. Most memorable game.
There's 2. First Red Wings win in the Cup in 40-some years, and it has to be the brawl against Colorado in March of '97.
Yeah, I love that.
The revenge game. They waited. Lemieux almost killed Draper, and they waited 300, and I think the number is 310 days. They were at the Joe. They were down 4-1, and then arguably the best hockey game in the last 50 years was the bloodbath. So yeah, so definitely the first Cup win, because
Okay.
it was the first Cup win of my life.
Yeah, 90 or 98?
Something like anyway.
Whatever.
Yeah, and then definitely the Colorado game for sure.
Okay. Most memorable goal you've ever seen.
Wow, I've seen a gajillion. I mean, probably Wayne's to break the record, and then Ovi's to break Wayne's record. I mean,
Interesting.
I've seen. I mean, I saw Carlson go between the legs and score against San Jose and win that game and everything like that. But in the grand scheme of the NHL, the things that I've seen, when you see records that people don't say will ever be broken, watching Wayne break Gordie Howe's record, and then a few seasons later watching Ovi break Wayne's record, those have to be the most memorable.
Interesting. See, mine, I'm more of like Wayne in the 80s taking a fucking slapper and going past Mike Vernon. Like, that's my most memorable goal.
Right.
Or things like that. Or actually McDavid putting Calgary out of the playoffs a few years ago. That was a huge memorable goal for me in overtime. But okay, is there an assist that stands out in your head?
Not really, but I'll context that by saying I'm absolutely mesmerized by some of the stuff that Mitch does. He has fucking 2 eyes on the back of his helmet. He's made some behind the back or through the legs play where he could not have seen somebody coming down the slot. Yes, they might have been calling for it or whatever, but you still have to deliver the pass on target. And some of the things that Mitch and Jack do, it's just astonishing to me. And I know that's like a microcosm kind of memory, but we didn't get a chance until this year to really see how Mitch Marner is with the puck. And he's a fucking wizard.
He's unbelievable. Probably my most memorable assist is the one where Ovi went back and over his head when he was going down.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see it live, but probably the greatest assist I've ever seen was the one where Bobby Orr was going down and he pushed the puck with his elbow up to his stick and passed it behind his head to someone who scored. The fuck, some of these guys. It's crazy. What was the other one I had?
Save?
Yes, most memorable save.
Well, there's 2. The first one was the first game that I was ever in the press box was against the Leafs when Marc-Andre Fleury made the save that ended up being a statue, right? And then Aiden Hill's save against Nick Cousins in the finals that cemented the Vegas Golden Knights drilling the Panthers that year.
I saw the one Bobrovsky made against Tampa.
Oh yeah, that was fucking ridiculous.
Listen to me. The press box there is kind of at the end, that end of the ice.
Right.
And literally everyone in the rink thought that puck was in the net when he made that save. And I came out of my seat. Like, I've never seen anything like that. Most memorable overtime. Don't have one?
Nah, not a fan of overtime. Don't really.
When I was a kid and the Islanders, Kelly Rudy was playing net for the Islanders. Remember the goal that went over his head? And it was like the 4th overtime or whatever.
Right.
We were at my grandparents' house and I was like, I wanted to stay up and watch that game so bad. And my mom's like, you have to go to bed. You have to go to bed. I was like crying. I want to stay up. It was like in the 2nd overtime, right? That game ended up going to 4 overtimes. That was always really memorable for me.
Yeah.
And then this is where I was going to go with this one. Your most memorable, or what you feel is like the biggest blockbuster trade that you can remember.
Well, it has to be Wayne to LA. It changed the game. It changed the game in its entirety in North America. I mean, it's an absolute pillar of change in the NHL. He was an absolute epic legend in Edmonton for, so many years. And then, he split for LA. And though he didn't have the tremendous amount of success like he did when he was established in Edmonton, he changed the game in the United States because he went to Hollywood. He had his flow going, right? He was the great one, and he changed the dynamic of the NHL in North America.
Yeah, it's worse now. That was to me, obviously that was like the worst day of my fucking life. That was, to me, that absolutely ruined hockey the way we knew it. And we went from 21 teams to 32 teams, and now they want to add more. Anyway, we could go off about that. The trade, and I wanted to pull this up because the amount of players. So the trade that stands out the most in my mind was when, so let me see. There was a 10-player deal between Toronto and Calgary.
I remember that.
In 92. That fucker was big. So Toronto got Dougie Gilmour. This is what Toronto got. Dougie Gilmour, Jamie McCowan, Rick Nattrass, Rick Wamsley, Kent Manderville. In exchange for Gary Leeman, Craig Berube, Alexander Godinyak, Michel Petit, and Jeff Reese. That is a huge trade. Something like that would never happen again.
Can't.
I wanted to bring that up specifically because we were talking about that earlier, about how that stuff will never...
Hockey trades are dead.
Yeah, and it's too bad. Like, think about the guys Calgary had. So that was 92. So Calgary won the cup in 89. And then they had those guys and traded them. But it's wild to think like that was a trade, a 10-player trade at the time.
Never again.
Even when Wayne got traded, there was like 3 guys going either way or whatever. You don't even see that anymore. This guy, and this guy for these 3 guys. Doesn't happen.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm done.
Watch party time.
Watch party time. But I have a new piece of jewelry.
How many swears?
I can't tell you because we're going to have a contest. Want to win one of those sexy Hockey Nights in Vegas water bottles that I forgot to bring to today's episode?
Usually,
you can just visualize it right here. It's a beautiful Stanley Cup kind of water bottle. It's white and it's etched and everything like that. I have been keeping track of the number of potty mouth maneuvers from Sarina and myself. I counted myself in this.
Okay, hold on though. We have to make a disclaimer here. Eddie may have missed a few. So if you're going to go back and watch this whole episode and count.
Because if they do that and they get the number right, we know they cheated.
Right. This is going to be different.
Right.
What are we going to do? Prices Right? Like if they go over, it doesn't count, or just closest to the pin?
I think it should be closest to the pin.
It's like curling.
Yeah.
Closest to the pin.
It's closest to the pin. So the number is somewhere between 0 and 1,000.
Probably closer to 1,000.
But so you have basically 3 days to go back and just give us your best guess. How many times did Sarina and I swear in this episode? And if you win a beautiful Hockey Nights in Vegas water bottle as I'm modeling right here. Maybe Bjorn can like Photoshop it in or something like that. Otherwise than that, I'm really done. I'm tired. I don't even want to do what we have to do next, but we will.
Let's put a deadline, Friday the 13th.
Oh, I like
By
that.
Friday the 13th.
I like
Yeah.
by close of business Friday the 13th. Thanks to all 458 subscribers. Like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast. Congratulations to
Tammy.
Tammy. Congratulations, Tammy. Shit, I threw your thing away.
Tammy
I
the
can't even.
stripper.
God, she's going to be a grandma. You watch.
They're wild, though.
I know.
I bet she's wild.
I bet they got a couple of pops in them, and you don't know what the hell could happen. So Tammy Barton.
Hey, you remembered.
Yeah, but I can't. It's
W5E.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Congratulations, Tammy. This thing is going to get off the rails if we don't stop. Thanks to the subscribers. www.youtube.com/Hockey Nights in Vegas. YouTube, or the other one, the link tree is hockeynightsinvegas.com. Thanks as always to Dr. John Pierce at Ageless Forever. We have more work to do. We will be back with you next week. We're out of here. Thank you.
And you're wearing real shoes today.
Yeah. And pants.
And pants.
And pants. And I have a jersey in the car because I'm in team spirit.
Booyah.
Okay. No more. Stop the goddamn recording, Bjorn. Jesus.